that kid who was ticking the boxes, doing things that everybody expected of her and people pleasing. And I grew up into being a woman who was a box ticker as well. You know, go to school, pass your exams, tick. Excel in extracurricular activities, swimming, art, tick. Go on to high school, pass, tick. Go to college, tick. Follow the family business, tick. Register as an architect, pass my exams, another tick. Get married, tick. Have 2 kids, and of course, a boy and a girl, tick, tick. So I grew up in Mombasa. I'm the 3rd girl in my family. There's nothing really special about being the 3rd girl, you know. First sister, 2nd sister, what else could I show anybody? My siblings. My oldest brother, he is very intelligent. He's a 2-time Ivy League graduate. And he's that guy who has spreadsheets like for the next 20 years, and likely will actually follow through on everything on that spreadsheet. My sister, who follows him, Liz is here. Liz is beautiful, she's intelligent, and she's also one of the most witty and loyal people that I know in my life. After Liz comes Wanjiro. Wanjiro is also really beautiful, and then she's creatively awesome. Wanjiro has never ticked anybody's boxes, and she still doesn't. Then comes my brother Ken. Ken is really the golden child in the family. He can do nothing wrong. And he grew up, you know, as we used to call it when we were kids, my mom used to call him kaveshe, which means calf in Kikuyu. But right now, as a grown-up, he's smart, he's hardworking, he's loyal. So within this phenomenal set of siblings, there was me. And for those who didn't know me when I was young, I was very, very timid. I was literally that kid who, you know, I want to blend in with the furniture, kind of do everything that's right, what's expected of me, and not cause a fuss, not cause disagreements. So in ticking my boxes, finding love was also ticking a box for me. I met my ex-husband when I was 20 years old, back in 2000. You guys stop calculating my age, eh? Don't judge me, please. So I met him back in 2000, 20 years old. And being young, impressionable, you know, my personality is very high-strung, you know, thinking about the next thing, what do I need to achieve? And I guess if you're a box ticker, you have to be that sort of person. What's the next box I'm going to tick? He, on the other hand, is very laid back, easygoing, you know, the sort of guy who's the fun-loving person. So in my young, impressionable mind, this was a perfect match for me, yin and yang. But of course, who you are when you're 20 and who you are when you're 32 can change. And we dated for 8 years, were married for 5. Within that time, our personalities and our differences started shining through. And at some point, our marriage became unsustainable. So here I was, a box ticker. But in 2013, I stopped ticking boxes. I had my almost 2-year-old daughter on one side, my 7-month-old on the other side, and I left my marriage. I stopped ticking boxes. This was really a crisis point in my life. I've gone through one other moment, I think, that was a crisis in my life, and that was losing my mom. I was 14 years old when we lost our mom. And that was, you know, a moment of really just uncertainty and not knowing where you would go next. For this kid who didn't really understand what my place was among my siblings, now who would I be without my mom, 14 years old? Fast forward to being 32, and now being in this next point of crisis, where I'm leaving a relationship that I had for 12 years. 12 years, from 20 to 32, that's most of my adult life. I didn't know how to be single. I was grieving a relationship, and of course also grieving a future. So there's a lot of pain and loss and a lot of emotions dealing with it. But somewhere deep inside, there was also a sense of settling. Because I had been ticking boxes for so long that here I was making this huge decision, and it was mine, no longer influenced by outside parties. And leaving my marriage was a difficult decision because a lot of people had opinions about it. But there was a settlement and a sense of coming back to my own and to myself. And I could feel it, a deep stirring within me, a sense of liberation, a sense of coming back to who Mugure is. So after this sort of big decision, big turning point, big crisis, I started a new phase. Here I am, 2 little children, and they have a dad. So we have to co-parent. Co-parenting, I know, is not something that's, a typical setup. It's definitely not ticking a box. It has no template. It has no way of, doing this in a way that makes sense to anyone. It's complex. It can be messy. And I remember literally as early as 2 weeks after my separation, we had my daughter's 2nd birthday. And we had the birthday, myself, my then husband, and our family and friends, yeah? And we're together in this birthday party for my 2-year-old, and it's in a turmoil of emotions. Co-parenting takes guts, and it takes grace. Co-parenting is complex, I think, for a lot of people because of the emotions. And at that point, the emotions were strong. For us, it has been 6 years of co-parenting. And it's shared weekends, it's shared holidays, it's shared schedules. And we walk the path together. And of course, there can also be very awkward moments in this co-parenting journey. Just to give you one interesting one. Literally, at this point, we do sit next to each other at all the kids' events. We cheer the kids on every single event that we have of the kids. We both show up, myself and my children's father. We both show up, sit next to each other, clap, share, we laugh and joke. We're friends now. So this one time, we're at the kids' sports day. And we're over there laughing and joking with other parents as we talk, and we're cheering them on. Go Kavi, go Sembi. And then this guy walks in, who's been hollering at me. And he looks over at us like, you can see a thought bubble. Like, what's going on? So it has its very interesting moments. I think I have to talk a little bit about the why. Why do I co-parent? And it's not without its challenges, and people will challenge you. I mean, I can remember somebody telling me, why even co-parent with him? Why not just raise the kids on your own? Cut him out. Somebody else implying that I'm co-parenting so I can stay in his life and get back together. But the reason why I co-parent, when I look at my children, Kavi and Sem, in their eyes, in their gestures, in their expressions, and the things that they do, I see their dad. I see their aunties. I see their soso. And I see their umau, their late umau. My son is 6 years old. And he can crack a joke and get a whole room of adults laughing. That's him. Anybody who knows his father knows that's his father's son. My daughter, why I co-parent with my daughter is a lot more inward. I have a strong relationship with my dad. We speak every single day. And that may be because losing your mom very early, he had to step up, step in. But when I think of denying my daughter that relationship with her father, I couldn't and I would never. That for me is the why of co-parenting. So in this new phase of life, and when I stopped ticking my boxes, I started doing what I wanted, what was true and real to me, what was authentic to me. And strangely enough, my life also began to align to that. Literally, when I stopped ticking boxes, my life started to realign. I was named one of Business Daily's top 40 under 40 women. I started a passion project, which is Little Einsteins East Africa. Little Einsteins East Africa. I've excelled in my architectural practice. And I volunteer, and I also mentor. I've gone back to mentorship, which I had kind of put a pause on. So my life started realigning itself to my truth, because of stopping ticking the boxes. Life is not about ticking of anybody's boxes. It's just about living and experiencing. And we'll make mistakes. We all make mistakes. It's acknowledging the fact that who you are within doesn't have to match other people's expectations of what they expect of you or who they want you to be. And it's not an easy lesson to learn. It took me 32 years to stop ticking boxes. And I literally remember, even within my marriage, struggling, holding back and tempering who I was. It took me 32 years to understand that I don't have to tick anybody's boxes. And it wasn't an easy lesson to learn. It took a crisis for me to learn this lesson. But when I stopped, it allowed me to engage in this journey of co-parenting. And I have a great co-parent. He's not here today because he's doing soccer runs and swimming runs this morning. So I do have to acknowledge that I have a co-parent who handles things equally. And speaking about this journey, for me particularly, I hope the impact it will have today is, whose boxes are you ticking, if you are ticking boxes? My kids, they know their mom loves them. They know their dad loves them, unquestionably. And who they are now tells me so much about the decisions that I've made. My son, a couple of weeks ago at swimming, a friend of ours tells him, "Sembi, you're good." And he goes like, "No, I'm not good, I'm awesome." And that's who he is. My daughter last year, I remember we were in Mombasa and having this experience that, just felt so emotional. My daughter in Mombasa, and she's going down the slide with a friend's daughter who's here today, a 2-year-old girl. My daughter is 7 years old, yeah. So she's going down the slide, and she has this little girl who she's holding on her lap. And she goes down the slide, gets down the end of the slide, then she looks back, and she sees this other kid, a bigger kid, hurtling down the slide towards them. And she literally moves her body to block this 2-year-old from getting hurt. That's who they are. They're smart, they're kind, they're compassionate, they're strong. And it's because we co-parent. Thank you.